Hey everybody, here it is, Wednesday. How you doing, Denise?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to be here today. Sitting here drinking my coffee from Coffee Brothers. It's awesome, man. Just kick back, relax, talk to you every day.
Yep, and Coffee Brothers is one of our sponsors. So if you get a chance, go to coffeebrothers.com, check out their website, check out all their different flavors, roasts, and blends. They've got great coffee. Plus, they've also got 10% off all orders on a subscription rate. So you can go to the website, 10% off all subscriptions. They have flexible subscriptions you can skip, modify, cancel, or temporarily pause at any time. All their coffee is expertly roasted in small batches and shipped fresh weekly.
So everybody go to coffeebrothers.com. Why don't you click the link below? There you go. Welcome to the show, everyone. Reminder that our opinions are our own. Also, please share the show with your friends and stomp that like button and follow. Is This Thing Working? On all platforms. We're everywhere from podcast to Gettr to YouTube to Rumble, Facebook, X, Gab. So we're out there everywhere. So be the first to hear what breaking news of the day is, as well as our analysis on the current polarized political environment raging across America. We speak of this every single day. And we try to teach you every day to be informed and how to become engaged. So let's get on with the show.
Let's get moving.
Trump has no court today. Wednesdays, they don't have court because the judge has other things to do, he says. But the weaponization continues. And we have a lot to talk about today about weaponization of the government and when it started.
Right. You know, we talk about weaponization of the government as much as we talk about the open border.
I know. And we're going to talk about both of those today.
Exactly.
You know, and the reason why we talk about it so much, because we want to show you and teach you where it began.
Yeah, it didn't just happen after President Trump became president in 2016. It didn't just start happening in 2020 with COVID and 2021 with the way that this Biden regime has taken this and ran with it. It didn't start then.
No.
Absolutely no way. And the reason that we say that, man, they've been weaponizing the government against us for a very long time, at least back about 15 years that we can go back to even just today.
Right. You know, and what's so crazy is even during Obama's administration, you and I, we noticed it even back then.
Way back then. And we kept trying to
get the word out. Hey, this is happening. People would shut us down like we were just... nothing.
Well,
like what you're saying is lies.
Well, and the thing is, just like with this, we're talking about, it's been out here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're paying attention to the Trump trials, the name Matthew Colangelo has came up, and he's a player in all of this. And he goes back a lot farther than just this trial that they're dealing with right now.
Yes. And if you've heard of Matthew Colangelo, he's actually assisting the George Soros-backed District Attorney Alvin Bragg's prosecution of Donald Trump. He oversaw the voting section of the Justice Department, which reportedly coordinated with a former affiliate of the disgraced Association of Community Organization for Reform Now. You know who that is?
Famously known as ACORN.
ACORN. During the Barack Obama administration. I'm getting my information from the National Pulse. So I wanted to give them hat tip for this. They've got a great article here that lays out exactly what happened here.
Yeah, it says that documents uncovered by Judicial Watch in 2011 suggest the Project Vote organization had high-level access to the voting section of the Justice Department under Obama. A contemporary report on the findings characterized the documents as revealing how left-wing civil rights groups work against Republican or conservative candidates by attempting to leverage law enforcement against them. Colangelo is listed among the high-level Justice Department officials to whom this group had access to. So now you see that ACORN back then was working hand-in-hand with Matthew Colangelo.
Yes. You know, and multiple employees of ACORN, with which Project Vote was formerly affiliated, were convicted of crimes related to voter registration fraud during the George W. Bush and Obama administration. So looky here. This goes all the way back to the Bush administration. So that's, I mean, and he resigned from the Department of Justice to join D.A. Bragg's team. He had already seen Republican lawmakers warn the Joe Biden regime may be directly involved in his state-level prosecution of Trump.
It says the fact that Colangelo stepped down from a senior DOJ role to join a prosecution team in a city DA offices raises some pressing concerns, commented Representative Lance Gooden, a Republican out of Texas. He has requested immediate access to all records and communication in relation to the DOJ and the Manhattan District Attorney General's office process of hiring Matthew Colangelo.
Definitely a conflict of interest, don't you think?
Yeah, it sure would be. But then again,
and back to this vote. I mean, to protect the vote. Once again, we find out that Obama is putting behind the scenes a protect the vote, get out and vote for Democrat.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
And who stopped it? And why didn't anybody stop it? Because they're still continuing to do this. You know, every single day something comes out about the Biden administration or past articles that we've seen of exactly this. We've known that Obama has been involved in voter fraud for years, but no one will say anything about it. But here is the plan. There is a plan that's going on in the Biden administration, and we really need to pay attention. On X, True the Vote, who has been on top of every single issue when it comes to voter fraud, and they said that the Democrats have a plan. One, they're going to deny states access to federal migrant tracking databases, preventing voter registration citizen checks. Done. They've already done that. Number two.
That goes back to the wide open border policy that we always scream about.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing in their plan says register 10 million new migrants for social service programs with baked-in voter registration. We've already seen proof of this already happening. All the different NGOs that are down there in the Darien Gap and at Panama Canal, we've seen this everywhere with them. We've seen that already with them. They've already admitted to it. Who was it? The resource center at Matamoros.
Mm-hmm.
Her, Gabby Zavala. Yeah, remember she was the one that admitted
that's
that
exactly
this is
right.
what
The
we're
flyers
doing.
that you've seen floating around everywhere.
Yep.
You know, please come to America so you can vote for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
That's what those flyers says.
Yep.
Well, you know, as we're reading this, I was looking. She says CNVRA and EO 14019. Okay, now that's Biden's executive order 14019. And let me tell you what that is exactly. Charlie Kirk has been on top of the executive order 14019. It's Zuckerbucks times 1,000. It turns $6 trillion federal government with its 600 separate agencies into a GoTV machine for his campaign. This is totally illegal and a multi-trillion-dollar advantage for Joe Biden ahead of November, he says. This needs to be stopped in the court. It's currently being challenged in Pennsylvania, and what people connected to the case are telling me is the most important election integrity lawsuit in the country. The Supreme Court might hear the case. It could be stopped by Congress, too, if Republicans in Congress ever actually force concessions from Biden instead of just surrendering. Joe Biden and his campaign are increasingly confident that they will win, despite bad polling and collapsing approval numbers. Maybe this is why.
Yeah.
If we lose in November, it very well could be because of this.
And exactly how does Executive Order 14019 read? Do we have that?
Yes, we have the executive order right here, just by chance. It's called Promoting Access to Voting, and it has 12 sections. You really do need to go find this. It's easy to find. Just type in Executive Order 14009. It will pop right up. We're going to focus on one section, though.
Yeah.
Even though there are 12 sections that are pretty bad.
Section 3, is the biggest part. And just like what we're talking about with the NGOs and how all this has been weaponized and funded throughout the years, this is actually an executive order from back in 21. If you look at the date of it, it's an executive order from early in his presidency in March of 2021. And this is the part we're talking about. In Section 3, it talks about the voting, and it says distributing voter registration and vote-by-mail ballot application forms and providing access to applicable state online systems for individuals who can take advantage of those systems. And in B, assisting applicants in completing voter registration and vote-by-mail ballot application forms in a manner consistent with all relevant state laws. And here we go. Here's where it begins to get there. Soliciting and facilitating approved, nonpartisan third-party organizations and state officials to provide voter registration services on agency premises. That sounds like an NGO, doesn't it?
It sure does.
That's exactly what it is. You go to the subsection there, and it says, ways to promote and expand access to multilingual voter registration and election information, and to promote equal participation in the electoral process for all eligible citizens of all backgrounds, and whether consistent with applicable law, any identity documents issued by the agency to members of the public can be issued in a form that satisfies state voter identification laws.
And then it goes on and on and on. And if you read through this, you will see that everything that they're talking about, they've been doing already.
Yes, that's the whole point of the NGOs at the border, is because all of this that they're talking about, it sounds good on the surface, but when you read into it, you see that all of this is geared toward what?
Toward them?
Toward
Registering illegals.
That's exactly what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. And with them already talking about how much money they slipped into this Ukraine bill.
Yeah, the $3.5 billion.
Yeah. Here I have an article from Zero Hedge. And this is where your money is going, folks. $3.5 billion slipped into Ukraine-Israel aid bill to supercharge mass migration from the Middle East. Now, we just got to telling you that they want everybody that comes over here and migrates illegally to America to vote.
To be registered to vote in these elections doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
And the point was where they say any identity documents issued by the agency to members of the public can be issued in a form that satisfies state voter identification laws. So just like we've talked about, when they come over here, they're immediately saying, by this form that we're letting you fill out right here, this gives you the right to vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're having them fill out them forms because they're using their names. They're going to use every one of those names, whether or not these people vote or not themselves.
Exactly.
They would have voted.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Wink, wink.
Yep.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And here comes the big subject of how all this is being funded. And it goes back to how all is being funded with what's going on the campuses with the riots and all the bullshit we got going on with that. We know who's there. We know why they're over here protesting. How are they being funded? There you go. Your $3.5 billion. And
yeah. I mean, and your money is going also. The Biden administration is setting up 2 international field offices. And guess where they're at? In Qatar and Turkey. To help facilitate mass migration of refugees and, in quotes here, economic migrants from the Middle East and the near Middle East to resettle them throughout American cities. To do exactly what's going on at these colleges and these riots. I'm going to call them riots because that's what they have turned into. They have brought these people over here to do exactly what they did in 2020 with Antifa and BLM.
Yep.
They're going to say, this is going to be your America if you elect Donald Trump. This is part of the election interference that we're always talking about. It isn't just about get out the vote. No, it's about turning people against each other, dividing you, telling you that you cannot vote, that your vote does not matter.
right.
And it doesn't. It doesn't anymore, and I get it. We all get that it doesn't vote, but there's reasons why we're voting. And there's reasons why we have to stand up, and we have to be engaged, and we have to be informed. And one of those reasons right now is the White House is considering welcoming these Palestinians from war-torn Gaza as refugees. That's part of this money that we were talking about. That's what they're going to do. They're going to bring them over here and cause issues. It's not going to be BLM and Antifa. That was an American thing. No, they're bringing people from other countries to tell you how to vote. That's what they're doing. They're saying, no, you can't vote. But senior officials across several federal agencies have discussed the practicality of different options to resettle Palestinians from Gaza who have immediate family members who are American citizens or permanent residents. See how they use this? But
Right.
are they really American citizens or permanent? See what they say, permanent residents?
Right.
They signed that form. That doesn't mean they're American citizens, and that doesn't mean that we've passed a law that they could come here.
Exactly.
You know, that we passed a law that makes them American citizens, because that has not happened. But I'm telling you, folks, if you do not get out and vote and stand up and let your voices be really heard, you're going to lose. You're going to lose bad and badly.
Well,
because did you not hear what happened?
Yeah, about the banks.
Yes.
I bet you a lot of people didn't, because if you look on Twitter this morning, if you look on TV news, all you see is what? Campus protests and everything that's going on with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we sit there and watch, flip through a little bit this morning, and that's exclusively what we've seen and what the subjects were. They didn't talk about this, but this is something that happened yesterday. An article came out.
From the Daily Mail.
Yeah, from the Daily Mail, and this is the headline. Bank of America, PNC, Citizens, and Chase behind the latest branch closures. Bank of America, PNC, and Citizens were among those that closed a total of 10 banks. U.S. banks notified the regulator of 10 planned branch closures in a single week this month. Among those shutting locations were Bank of America, PNC, and Citizens, each of which announced the closure of 2 locations. Meanwhile, Chase, Capital Federal Savings Bank in Kansas, First National Bank of Middle Tennessee, and State National Bank of Groom in Texas reported 1 each in the week between April 14 and April 20. The closures, published by their regulator, the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, were planned across California, Texas, Washington, D.C., Jersey, Massachusetts, New York, Kansas, and Tennessee. And these closures mean that the customers in these areas will need to either drive further to another branch or turn to what? Online banking for the majority of their services. It means that banks have announced the closure of more than 300 so far in 2024. Say that again. Since the beginning of this year, and now 4 solid months ago, there's been 300 closures. Guys, we've only had about 120 days. Think about that.
I know.
300 banks closed in 120 days.
This, listening to James over here, I'm just like, I'm shaking my head over and over, because, this is amazing that this isn't more out in the news right now. I mean, your banks are closing. Do you know? Do you know that your banks are closing? Do you know that you better be checking on your bank? If you have money in any federal bank that you need to move it, you have to. I mean, these are fixing to crash. They don't want you to know, because the Biden administration has been propping up the economy with fake numbers. And they come out every time, well, this is good, this is good, this is good. It's not.
Do you think the government will bail them out?
Why, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all going to be digital currency.
Yep.
That's what we're going to.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to pull your money out of the bank.
Yep.
It's already happening. I went to try to pull $3,000 out of the bank a couple of years ago in our savings, and they wouldn't let me do it. I could only do it in 1,500 increments, and I had to do it in 3 days apart.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is like already happening. They don't have the money. They don't have cash. Cash is going away, and your banks are going to fail, and they're going to take all your money, and there you go. There you go, and they're going to start over. Well, and that's what they're trying to do. They're going to try to take all the cash out of the system. I mean, you have savings, you have all this cash laying around underneath your mattress.
Yeah.
They're going to make sure you use it all, and then they're going to take it all away. That's my prediction. Is this thing working?
Rise up. Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.